Hello, so today we're going to talk about the headstand. And the headstand is a posture that a lot of beginners are dreaming of doing. But the first thing that I would like to tell you that headstand is not a really beginner's position. So if you see some videos with a name like headstand for complete beginners, obviously they mean not the complete beginners in yoga, but maybe complete beginners in the headstand. Then yes. But if you are a complete beginner in yoga, please don't try the headstand, because first of all, you need to work on your shoulder strength, on your core strength, and also on your hip flexor flexibility. And before you have enough of it, then please don't try the headstand, because you might even hurt yourself. And although this posture has a long list of benefits, we have to be intelligent in doing that and only do that when you're ready. And now I'm going to show you how you can actually understand if you're ready or not, and if you think that you're ready, if you manage to do some preparation exercise. I will also show you what mistakes you should avoid and what's the proper technique. The very first thing I need to say is that actually the headstand, it's not really a proper name for this posture, for Shasana, because actually it's more something like a forearm stand with your head on the ground. And I'm telling you this because you need to realize that when you are doing the headstand on your head, it's only something like 20% of the weight. The rest of your weight is on your shoulders, on your forearms. It's super important for the safety of your neck. So that's why you need to have a strong foundation and know the proper position of your arms and of your shoulders. So let me show you something. First thing that you do, you need to realize how to place your hands and your elbows. So first, let's go on all fours, and you place your elbows just under your shoulders, and the distance between your elbows is something like shoulder distance apart. When you are going to do the posture itself, make sure that your elbows are not sliding to the sides. It's also very important to keep the right position of your shoulders. So it's that you place your elbows and they are standing on one single place. Also, a good trick for making sure they're not sliding anywhere, it's that you place your elbow and then do the slight movement to move your skin to the side, something like that, so that you're standing on the bones and your skin is a little bit like inside. Then you do the same thing with the other arm, and you interlace your fingers, and after you did that, you can place your head to the ground, and you want to place the crown of your head, that means the highest place on your head to the ground, and the back of your head is touching your palms. So let us do that. And then after you did that, you can lift your knees and be really careful about your shoulders. I mean that all the time there is a good distance between your shoulders and your ears. They are not doing something like that. No, don't sink down on your shoulders. Always put them higher and bring them to the sides so that you make a better distance, a better space in between your ears and your shoulders. Actually, it's the same thing that happens when you're doing the downward facing dog. Let me show you. So when you do the downward facing dog, you don't want to do anything like that. No, you want to spread your shoulders. And look, the same thing happens here, spreading the shoulders. So keep that in mind. And when you lift the knees, you can also start walking closer and closer and don't let your elbows slide to the sides. Don't let yourself sink down. If you manage to do that for at least 10 breaths, then it means that you can do the next exercise. But before you do that, make sure that you have some rest in this child's pose, just to make the pressure in your head normal again, especially if this pose is unusual for you. And then the next exercise is actually even harder than the actual headstand. But thanks to that exercise, you are guaranteed to put your weight, to distribute your weight properly. So it's really good for the strength of your shoulders. Here we start in the same way, so we place our elbows just under our shoulders, interlace the fingers, but we don't put the head to the ground, so the head stays in the air, and you lift your shoulders. You can look down or in front of you, it's up to you, and you're trying to walk closer, and make sure not to lose your shoulders. Remember about that. Feel your bones, your forearm bones touching the floor, and you want to push away from those bones. Bringing your shoulders away from the ears, standing here, trying to bring your pelvis just above your shoulders. So you can walk even closer, bringing your pelvis forward. And stay 15 breaths. And if you manage to stay for 15 breaths, it's a good sign that you are ready for a headstand. If you don't, then just do this exercise every day and slowly adding an extra breath, and in a few weeks you will be ready to do a headstand for sure, especially if you do some other yoga practice. Then the actual headstand. So we again place our elbows, interlace the fingers, place the head on the ground, but don't put in too much weight on it. Lifting the knees and walking closer. So you walk as close as possible, you bring your pelvis forward, so it's just above your shoulders, and then you just lift one knee, and notice that my knee is pressing to my chest. It's not lifting somewhere, but just pressing. And stay for a while. Then bring it down and do the other side. Again, watch your shoulders and watch your pelvis position. And then bring it down, take rest. And after we take rest, we're going to try to do both legs at a time. Make sure that your pelvis is not going somewhere behind you, somewhere backwards, but just above the shoulders. So let us try. We do one, and if you are comfortable, we do both. Again, watch the position of the pelvis, don't arch your back. So make sure, imagine that your lower ribs are going closer to your pelvic bones. And then, if you feel confident, then you can lift and straighten both legs at a time. When you are coming back, you can do it in the same way and then go down. So I consider this option to be the safest because it makes sure you really use your core muscles. There is another way that some people use, it's like jumping into a headstand. I wouldn't really recommend it. It's something like that you lift and then you jump, something like that. Don't do this unless you have a super strong core or unless you have the flexibility that much that you can do it in a safe way without arching your back too much. Also, a very good way how not to be afraid, because actually one of the reasons why people are not able to learn how to do a headstand, it's the mental reasons in their head. They're very afraid to fall. So not to be afraid to fall, you need to learn how to fall. And actually there is nothing scary about falling from the headstand if you know how to do it properly. So let us learn how to fall. Falling from the headstand into something like a bridge posture is the safest, into this back bend. So before you try that, so if you just do this video without doing any warming up, do some warming up, some light back bends, something like this at least, or something else. Or if you do it after the practice, then you can try right now. So falling into a headstand, into the back bend looks like this. You do the headstand and then you bend your knees, bend your knees, bend your knees, and you fall. So now you see that there is nothing scary about this fall, and then you can just lie down on your back or go back again. So I hope it was useful for you and gave you some insight into headstand. And if you have any questions, you can ask me, and have a good practice.